जय हिंद, जय भारत, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi Achint. सबसे पहले तो I want to welcome Air Marshal GS Bedi, जो एक in the new year for the first time सबसे पहले तो एक छोटे से गैप के बाद वापस आ रहे हैं. And there is a something really special that he's brought for us, which is the Ghatak drone. Now, ये चीज काफी टाइम से टेस्टिंग वेस्टिंग चल रही है, सब कुछ हो रहा है, ठीक है, we can understand that, but suddenly to display this, and there's a lot of talks about further development of this. एक आयरन बर्ड करके एक कॉन्सेप्ट निकला आज, जो मैंने आप सर को एक फोटो भी भेजी थी उसकी. इंटरेस्टिंग स्टफ इज हैपनिंग, सो आई वांटेड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि सर की क्या पर्सपेक्टिव है एंड व्हाट कैन वी लर्न फ्रॉम सर अबाउट दिस इंटायर गेम. तो सबसे पहले तो सर, प्लीज, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग इन एंड वेलकम टू द शो सर.
Thank you, Adi. Always a pleasure, and I know it's been some time, but I always look forward to being with you and your audience. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, first tell us what's happening with this. Yeah, suddenly we've taken out this thing, and this is a very interesting looking machine. क्योंकि फ्लाइंग विंग का एक तो बहुत टाइम से जैक नॉर्थरॉप हैड दैट ड्रीम टू फ्लाई अ विंग, वो तो बहुत पुराना है. एंड कहीं ना कहीं he survived for 50 years without getting that dream realized. उसकी हुई नहीं वो. But today it has become a much more this thing, and for us to do something like that, it is very, very interesting to me. So sir, opening mein, what would you like to tell us about this, sir?
See, you're right. I mean, suddenly we heard about it, flight took place, and though it's been going on काफी देर से चल रहा है, if we trace the history back, 2009 से, I believe, firstly when we realized, when did we start thinking of UAVs? Post Kargil तक कुछ नहीं था हमारे पास. Then there's Herons and searchers, we did deal with Israel, and that is the first UAVs we got. Okay, and then after that, with something or the other happening, we realized that the deal with Israel, they were good birds for their time, पर काफी shortcomings थी उसमें. Now, without getting too much into detail, it would suffice कि जैसे ना हम तीनों सर्विसेज ने खरीदे, ठीक है, आर्मी, नेवी, एयरफोर्स के पास Herons थे, but very surprisingly एक सर्विस का बर्ड जो है दूसरी सर्विस के ग्राउंड स्टेशन से भी बात नहीं कर सकता था. बात करने का मतलब कि इट वाज नॉट कंपैटिबल. तो अगर आर्मी का ड्रोन उड़ गया तो एयरफोर्स उसको लैंड नहीं करवा सकती, एंड वाइस वर्सा. सो क्या ऐसे छोटे छोटे इश्यूज आने शुरू हो गए, एंड देन वी वांटेड मोर कैपेबिलिटी. दे वर नॉट सेटकॉम कंपैटिबल, तो उनकी जो रेंज थी वो लिमिटेड थी. फिर उसको रिले करना पड़ता था, लाइक यू हैड टू लॉन्च 2 drones or 2 short UAVs to relay the signal. Now that had their own problem, etc. So thought came that yes, we must have our own UAV. So ये in fact started in 2009. इसका पहला नाम था Aura. Okay, it was a unmanned research aircraft. Okay, autonomous unmanned research aircraft. तो वो चला, काफी डिले हुआ. नाउ किसका fault, not really fault. I mean, why these delays took place, it depends now from which side were you looking at. Some people say that QRs were not properly written, Air Force probably took time, then or whether DRDO played ball or not. So those are 10 ऐसे करते करते 2013 में I think finally they really settled down के these QRs must be written, and that is when they were written. Now development took place. Now we will see slowly that what does it take to make a bird like that, a flying wing or tailless. Absolutely, there are a lot of complications. Or it was not just another UAV that we were making. We were making a combat UAV, and with the great capability, and which was supposed to be supersonic. Okay, we will see the specifications in a while. Okay, but now you see why before we get into this Ghatak per se or any UAV, these UAVs have become very popular. I mean, these wars have made them popular like hell. And why they have become popular? They come in all sizes, from insect size to if you talk of global hawk, half the size of football field, its wingspan almost. So that is the kind of range which is available. There are quadcopters, there are fixed wings, there are autonomous, there are you name a thing. There are kamikaze, etc. Shahid has become a household name. So why have they become popular? Because there are two distinct characteristics of UAVs or drones. If I may say, one is they call like depth of magazine. It is used in some other relevance, but I find it appropriate here as well. Depth of magazine and adverse exchange ratio, unfavorable exchange ratio for the adversary. Now, what does this mean? Depth of magazine, as I would understand, if there is a cheap drone, if there is a $5,000 $10,000 bucks worth drone, then you can continue making, continue launching. I mean, you don't run out of them. So depth of magazine is very large, means you don't run out of rounds. So we say that, okay, it's great depth of magazine. We use it in terms of lasers also. They say as long as you have the power available, you can continue producing lasers. So there is a depth of magazine in these weapons. Unfavorable exchange ratio for the adversary, in the sense that imagine if you need $1 million missile tomorrow to down a $10,000 UAV, then it's a very, very unfavorable exchange ratio. But you can't leave it also, because if you leave it, then it's going to do damage worth millions of dollars. So you are now comparing your $1 missile not with 20,000 or $10,000 worth drone. You are comparing it with the damage it could do. You see what has recently happened in a naval domain and things like that. Okay, so that is why when they become important, and now slowly they realize that, okay, just because there is no human being in drone, okay, is it expendable, in the sense that should you not bother about it? If you Google or even Chat GPT will tell you, okay, what are the advantages of drones or UAV? So one of the main is that they say it is unmanned, so that you don't lose out a pilot, or you can save a pilot, etc. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज, और द इशू इज आदि, ये है कि भाई क्या सिर्फ यही बात है कि भाई इसमें पायलट नहीं है तो फिर इनको जब मर्जी कोई गिरा दे, जब मर्जी कोई शूट डाउन कर दे? व्हाट इज देयर रोल? Now their role is not what we are, I mean, seeing, these quadcopters of grenade gira diya ya chota bomb gira diya, ya that kind of stuff you did. They can create hell of a lot of problems for the enemy, but in a war like situation they cannot win the war for you. You know what, you need backup power, like you need other paraphernalia to back
Actual,
them up, and they can be augmentation, kind of catalyst kind of device. इसमें क्या है, अब जस्ट इमेजिन ए सिनेरियो, ऑपरेशनल सिनेरियो आई वुड पेंट, दैट आपने एक यूएवी, ये इसकी आईएसआर कैपेबिलिटी देखेंगे, या कल को रीपर भी है, या ग्लोबल हॉक टाइप है आपका यूएवी, या हम ममटी की बात करेंगे, मैन अनमैन टीमिंग और कॉम्बैट कैट्स की बात करेंगे, एयर टीमिंग सिस्टम की. So we will see that if now, let's say I've launched an ISR drone or a UAV, which is providing me real-time end. It is seeing the enemy disposition, it is seeing target, it is relaying information to me, it is providing coordinates, it is probably lasing for my aircraft or for my bombs, etc. Now, if a mission of 30-40 aircraft depends on these 2-3 UAVs which are giving you information, can you really afford to lose them? You cannot afford to lose them, because it is not only they by themselves, they are the linchpin between your, the people who are coming behind. So it is that important. So probably we started thinking that yes, you need to develop, UAV or something which is potent, which can save itself and which can do bigger damage. And also, we heard of this mumti, what we call unmanned teaming. Again, there is a little misconception there, because we know drones of today's kind. We know Reaper, we know other drones which are flying at 300-350 kilometers an hour. How exactly this drone or this UAV will team up with a fighter which is going at 900 kilometers an average speed, or is able to pull 6-7 G, or I mean, what kind of teaming will they make? So you will need a faster drone, like with the F-35, F-16 drone is what they are preparing. What we talked of F-16 unmanned aircraft with AI last time, when we were talking of AI, we talked about it. So that is what will team up with F-22 or F-35, something like that. And similarly, if we were to have a credible kind of, unmanned teaming system, then you needed a drone or a UAV which could go faster, faster like an aircraft, which can, do some good teamwork with that kind of capability. And also, save itself. So when does it save itself? Means firstly, then the stealth requirement came up. Also, stealth requirement would come up that tomorrow's if your main aircraft are stealth, let's say, you see, stealth is required for two reasons. One, to save itself, that it should not be visible to the radar. Okay, that is when it's doing autonomous operation. But even in a Mumty or CATS kind of environment, let's say if it is accompanying a stealth aircraft, then it makes sense for itself to be stealth, right? Otherwise, if it's accompanying a stealth aircraft and itself is loudly visible to people, then what kind of teaming will it make again?
Exactly what
So,
happened in, I mean, drone were detected very easily in the Russia-Ukraine war.
yeah, because they are, configuration is such, they were made like that.
जी,
You see,
जी,
let's not forget कि जब ड्रोन बनाने शुरू किए या यूएवी, वो इसीलिए किए कि भाई ये चीप बनेंगे एयरक्राफ्ट के मुकाबले में, ठीक है। अब धीरे धीरे क्या होता जा रहा है कि ये यू विल फाइंड कि दीज ड्रोन्स द वे वी आर progressing, they will cost you as much as an aircraft. One Taranis photograph I'll show you, and I'll tell you price of that drone when we come to it. But what happens is the initially they were made like that, so that is why they did not need to fly very fast. They needed to be up in the air for very long. So a drone or a UAV 30-40,000 फीट पे 20-30 घंटे फ्लाई करता है, आपको दिखता है और ज्यादा वल्नरेबल नहीं है, दूर तक देख सकता है, etc etc. So we thought it was doing its purpose, but no, vulnerabilities became very visible. I mean, Black Sea incident, I keep quoting again and again, that Reaper, what happened to it. Okay, so now you need potent machines. If these UAVs are going to do a good job, then they obviously need to be potent enough, because their roles are increasing. Their roles are no more just
जी,
to film or just to get some information or just to throw some grenades, etc etc. Their roles are increasing, so that is why probably this was required. Now this particular stuff Ghatak that we talk of, okay, what all went through it. Now 2013 say the progress started, various things, and now finally we came July 22 or somewhere, the tests started. Okay, now we have a small presentation. I just took a little care, and before, I would also like to tell you, yeah, this is the Swift, what they call, that stealth flying wing test bed. Okay, we will explain a little bit of it. If you see, this looks like B2. I mean, no, if you were not to say कि ये Swift है, though enlarge it a bit and say B2 bomber है, तो probably people would believe it also. In our stealth lecture, we showed those photographs. So most of them have got this kind of things. Now, there are peculiar aspects of it which I would like to briefly explain subsequently, because a lot of your audience I see are technologically inclined, and there are some students of aviation. There are some engineering students who like to know a bit of technical details. So at the cost of spending 5 odd minutes there, I would like to explain a few things, but just have a look at it, the sweep back part of it. Okay, or there is no tail into it. Okay, so let's see the specifications of it. Let's get over with that first. What is it going to do? Next one, please. When we talk of characteristics, okay, so we say Swift, it is a stealth wing flying test bed. Into, like I said, the thing started with autonomous unmanned research aircraft. Its name was there, and subsequently it was changed to Ghatak. Now, this Ghatak model, which we see Swift, it is 1/8 model of this is internet information. Not it's not directly from DRDO or somewhere, and it's 1/8 model of Ghatak. Now, my interpretation is 1/8 model. When we say it, doesn't really mean that it is 8 times in all dimensions, because currently this flying wing or Swift, it's about 5 meters in wingspan and 4 meters in length. So no, I don't believe that 8 times means it will be 40 meters of wingspan. It will be like more than Global Hawk probably, or 32 meters of length, or 8 times thicker than that. Probably what it means is that overall ratio. Now again, this is my fair guess and informed guess, that probably it is roughly 2 cube. When we say, let's say if it is uh, twice the size of its current in every dimension, that probably then in volume wise it will be 8 times of that. So it's reasonable to believe that ultimate model will be, let's say, about 10 meters wingspan, because that is generally what a normal fighter. Mirage 2000, for example, is about 9.6 meters wingspan. Our MiG-21 used to be 7 meters. So, but like I said, it's a fair guess. It is not given anywhere that it'll have something like that dimensions, but it is enough to say कि ये scale down model है उसका. We are planning to achieve 30,000 feet of height iska or 1.4 Mach speed, which is noticeable that it will be supersonic now, but it's not that it will take off and go to 1.4 Mach. That's not the sweet spot what we say. It has got the runway capacity, or it can touch 1.4 Mach. And we all, I think your audience would know that it is going to be powered by our own Kaveri engine and dry power regime, whatever thrust
48,
45, 48,
48.
or between 45 to 50 newtons, I think, kilonewtons. I mean, wherever they settle down, it will do that. Max takeoff weight is 15 ton, and its current, the Swift which we are talking of, is 1 ton. Okay. Now that because when you put in actual fuel, dimensions is one thing, but when it gets filled with fuel and you put weapon load on that, which is payload like 2 tons, variety of loads it will carry, air to ground, probably air to air, some ISR equipment, some radars, etc., etc. And like we said, first flight in 22 and seventh flight was in 23, and it is expected that Ghatak full scale model will come up somewhere in 25 or so, which is a reasonable timeline, I would say. And your question that why we have suddenly started showing not so much earlier, that probably technology or TRL, what we say, has reached to a level where we can talk about it, and where it is, where end is in sight. Like, let's say I'm working on something. I will
Ah,
not talk about it till the time I'm very sure that something will come out. And now, when I'm reasonably sure that, okay, we have reached certain place where we can start talking about it, because I have the end in sight. So they have given timeline. So probably when that maturity has taken place, we have started now talking about it more. Could be one of the reasons, in my opinion, why this has suddenly got traction. Okay. Now,
interesting. Hmm.
yeah, next one, please. There, I wonder whether we can play next. No, no, acha, that there was a video. If you go through two videos, you audience are, we are unable to play it here. If you would see, 22 ka video, first test flight, you will see a fin, vertical fin on that, which you don't see it here. Okay. उसमें क्या है कि vertical stability was important. So what I want to tell, that it takes time for the technology to mature. It is not that it was conceived like that and it started flying that like that. Okay. There was a vertical tail plane in that. तो first flight का अगर वीडियो देखोगे आप, तो उसमें vertical plane दिखेगा आपको. Slowly इसमें नहीं है. That means initially we were not so matured with this configuration के उसकी vertical stability manage कर सके इस configuration में. So
Hmm.
slowly when technology matured, तो vertical जो fin थी वो हट गई, and now they started flying like that. Now another important aspect of this is the not hurdles. The engineers are well qualified, but as a practitioner or as a student of aerodynamics, what I can see, 2-3 things I will point out, which your audience may find interesting. Now sweep back, you see, it's sweep back, hell of a lot of sweep back. Sweep back is when the wing is not straight and it is पीछे की तरफ. Okay, how do you decide sweep back? मोटा I will explain कि कितना sweep back angle होना चाहिए. I'm sure there are a lot of more considerations, but on a broad front, I will just try to explain you that what does govern. Now, what happens is, how do aircraft get airborne? We all know that there is low pressure on top of the wing and there is high pressure on bottom of the
And it
wing. That is
lifts it.
how you
Correct.
generate lift, correct?
Hmm.
How do you get low pressure on top of the wing? You get low pressure on top of the wing by accelerating airflow over the wing. That is why you have camber. Whenever you see an aircraft, its wing is little bulged up like that. More so in transport aircraft, you see big camber and a little bulge. So that bulge accelerates the airflow. So whenever airflow accelerates, Bernoulli's theorem will tell you, okay, it results in reduction in pressure, because sum total of, they say, kinetic energy and pressure energy is constant. Thinking potential energy is same, because height is same of both the things. So when you increase kinetic energy, the pressure energy will reduce. Kinetic
Ah,
energy
okay.
means
Hmm.
V when you increase, half mv square. So आपने V बढ़ा दी, okay, kinetic energy बढ़ गई, तो law of conservation of energy says कि भाई total energy उतनी ही रहेगी, sum total of energy. तो kinetic energy बढ़ गई तो pressure energy कम हो गई, तो low pressure हो गया ऊपर. Reverse takes place on the bottom. You decelerate flow to an extent and or less accelerated, so there is a relative high pressure below and pressure on top. Now if you have to accelerate flow, that means whatever is your aircraft speed being shown, flow over your wing is at a higher speed. That is what is acceleration of airflow will mean. So if I am going at 700 kilometers per hour, then the airflow over my wing is probably more than 700 kilometers per hour. That is how you're producing lift. Otherwise it will not produce lift. So when that happened, okay, we found that it started entering into supersonic region even when the aircraft was not supersonic. So flow over the wing was supersonic, which started creating problems of shock waves. So now how to control that? That you want to keep flow, airflow over the wing, chord-wise flow, which is perpendicular to your chord. You wanted to keep it subsonic. Okay, now how to achieve that? Now can we have the next picture, please?
कैन आई, मैं जरा इसमें
Yeah,
एक चीज आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा,
yeah,
बिकॉज
yeah.
सर एक
Please.
तो सबसे पहले मैं सबको दो तीन
Yeah,
लोगों ने सवाल पूछा है, भाई लोगों ये ओरिजिनल पिक्चर है ये
yeah,
ये
yeah, yeah,
एक्चुअली
yeah.
ये ओरिजिनल पिक्चर है, ये कोई आर्टिस्ट की ड्राइंग
Yeah,
नहीं है, दिस इज एन ओरिजिनल
yeah,
पिक्चर। प्लस सर
yeah.
एक चीज बेसिक बोलते हैं
हाँ
ना
हाँ
ज्योमेट्री के हिसाब से, दिस थिंग इज अ ब्यूटीफुली इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल।
हाँ, वो ऐसे दिखने में लगता है प्रोबेबली, बिकॉज इफ आई सी विंग स्पैन, अगर आप बोलो कि 5 मीटर है, पीछे जो इसकी टेल है वो 5 मीटर है, ठीक है।
जी
मैं आपको मोटा मोटा बताता हूँ, ठीक है। मैं टिप टू टिप इसकी
जी
5 मीटर है और उसकी लेंथ 4 मीटर है। ओके।
नहीं नहीं, अगर वो पीछे वाला जो कट हुआ हुआ है उसको छोड़ के अगर आप इसको पूरा स्ट्रेट कवर कर देंगे, इट विल कम आउट लाइक
मैं
अ
वही, लुक्स लाइक दैट, बट मैं वही बता रहा हूँ। आप उसको बीच वाला भूल जाओ, आप समझो कि स्ट्रेट लाइन है पीछे, दैट्स व्हाट यू आर सेइंग, करेक्ट। पीछे टिप टू टिप स्ट्रेट लाइन है, ठीक है, वो 5 मीटर है, ठीक है। तो ये जो बीच वाला पोर्शन है वो 4 मीटर है, सो मीन देयर
हाँ
टू देयर इट 2.5 मीटर। और अगर आप ज्योमेट्री लगाओगे तो इट विल बी वेरी क्लोज टू दैट, लाइक इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल इज मींस अगर इसका नोज टू टिप भी 5 मीटर है, इधर भी 5 मीटर है और पीछे भी 5 मीटर है, we may have to work out, but let's assume it is like that. Okay, but that gets into very great engineering. I mean, mota mota, if I have to quickly say, 16 plus 6.25, very close to that, very close to
हाँ।
equilateral triangle.
दूसरा चीज गाइस,
Okay,
ये एक मॉडल है, ठीक है, दिस इज वर्थ, जैसे सर ने बोला, अबाउट 1 to 2
one,
टन्स, 1 टन।
yeah,
ये चीज
1 ton,
15 टन का होगा, तो दिस विल बी
yeah,
नॉट अ स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग जो आपने देखा था वो चुई करके उड़ रहा था, वो नहीं,
yeah,
दिस विल बी
yeah,
अ मैसिव थिंग, इट विल बी अ
massive,
वेरी वेरी बिग
yeah,
थिंग। सो
yeah,
टू माय माइंड कैलकुलस के हिसाब से अगर आप देखेंगे, ये कम से कम नहीं तो 4 टाइम बड़ा होगा इससे। सो
yeah,
जस्ट प्लीज पुट दैट इन माइंड। सर
yeah.
प्लीज ओवर टू यू,
It will be
कैन वी गो
minimum
टू
10
नेक्स्ट?
meters. This thing, yeah. So
सर
ओके, ना ये मैंने उल्टा कर दिया इसको सिर्फ आपको समझाने के लिए कि कैसे होता है। अब ये देखिए कि ये जो ब्लू है ना, ये सीधा एयर फ्लो आ रहा है। लेट्स से इट वाज गोइंग एट 1.4 मार्क, ठीक है। सो 1.4 मार्क पे नाउ जब ये ऐसे जा रहा है तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी विंग्स के ऊपर, ट्रांसोनिक, ये सुपरसोनिक ड्रैग बढ़ेगा। ओके, लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स कम इनटू प्लेस अगर ये विंग स्ट्रेट होता तो, ठीक है। बट व्हाट मैटर करता है कॉर्ड वाइज फ्लो। ओके, ना ये जो है ना, मैं अभी एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ क्या है वो। ये जो 1.4 मीटर्स का आपका जो दिखाई हमने एयर फ्लो वेक्टर है, जो ये ना दो हिस्सों में डिवाइड कर सकते हैं, करेक्ट। नेक्स्ट वन प्लीज। एक ही हो गया स्पैन वाइज फ्लो, ठीक है, जो स्पैन के साथ साथ चलता है। कैन यू मेक इट, वो बिल्कुल स्पैन के साथ साथ चल रहा है। और दूसरा अब नेक्स्ट वन करेंगे तो वो है परपेंडिकुलर टू स्पैन, ये ग्रीन वाला जो,
वाओ,
ठीक है। तो अगर ये ग्रीन वाला मेरे को 0.7 मार्क रखना है, ये मैंने ज्योमेट्री आसान बनाने के लिए एक फिगर ले ली, वो जो 1.4 का बिल्कुल आधा है, ठीक है ना। तो अगर ये स्पैन वाइज फ्लो मेरे को 0.7 मीटर रखना है और मेरा मेन वेक्टर 1.4 है, तो आपको सिंपल ज्योमेट्री बताएगी कि ये जो एंगल है ना बीच में ट्रायंगल का, 60 डिग्री होगा। cos 60 हाफ होता है, करेक्ट। और ये जो ग्रीन है वो बेस है, 1.4 हाइपोटेन्यूज हो गया है ना। तो 60 डिग्री, और ये एंगल अगेन ऑल्टरनेटिव एंगल्स इनको बोलते हैं। तो ऊपर वाला जो स्वीप एंगल है वो भी 60 डिग्री होगा, जिस अगर वहां पे आप स्ट्रेट लाइन खींच लें तो जो उसका स्वीप बैक है, जो कि बिल्कुल नॉर्मल से ऐसे हुआ है ना, वो जो 60 जो ऊपर लिखा है मैंने, Okay, they both these angles are equal. So this will mean मोटा मोटा if I say कि 1.4 मैक का ये चाहिए मेरे को, और 0.7 मार्क मेरे को रखना है विंग के ऊपर, क्योंकि उसके बाद मेरे को प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, तो एन इंजीनियर विल टेल यू कि आई थिंक यू नीड अबाउट 60 डिग्री स्वीप. नाउ दिस इज प्योरली फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. I say again and again, this is not the only consideration. There are lot more considerations when it comes to these things. But this is one of the primary consideration, and this is how it works. Okay, that how much sweep does it need? Okay, but now when you do this sweep, it's not that every problem gets stopped. Okay, now the next thing which I don't find in this aircraft, I mean, I don't know whether so much of sweep is necessary, or how much sweep is final Ghatak is going to get, will depend on these considerations. So tomorrow when you read about actual Ghatak and you know how much of sweep is there, then you probably will get an understanding what is the idea how fast an aircraft can be, and what is means why is this particular sweep has been decided. पर ये जो स्पैन वाइज फ्लो है ना, जो साइड को जाता है, नेक्स्ट वन प्लीज. अब ये देखो स्वीप, ये देखा है, ये है DF-21. ओके, ये मार्क 3 जाता था, ये भी अनमेंड है, पर इसको छोड़ देते वो बॉम्बर से ऊपर. नाउ यू सी दिस स्वीप इज ऑलमोस्ट 72 डिग्रीज और 80 डिग्रीज के आसपास, बिकॉज दिस वाज रिक्वायर्ड टू गो एट मार्क 3 पॉइंट समथिंग. सो नाउ यू अंडरस्टैंड कि इसमें अगर स्वीप इतना है तो इसका स्पैन वाइज फ्लो, मतलब इसका कॉर्ड वाइज फ्लो कितना कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अगर 90 डिग्री है तो जीरो ही हो जाएगा, सारा ही स्पैन वाइज फ्लो हो जाएगा, राइट? Okay, so this is what governs when you see a sweep back. Okay, and then you understand that why this sweep back is required, and why do aircraft have sweep back, and what governs this particular thing. Okay, next one please. Okay, now but this span wise flow, now I come to this. Okay, this creates problem. अभी हमने बात की कि ऊपर इसके लो प्रेशर होता है और नीचे इसके हाई प्रेशर होता है. तो ये जो स्पैन वाइज है ना, जो हाई प्रेशर नीचे आ रहा है, लो प्रेशर ऊपर आ रहा है, ये विंग टिप पे इकट्ठे हो जाते हैं. ओके, जब ये विंग टिप पे इकट्ठे हो जाते हैं तो ये वर्टिसेस बनानी शुरू कर देते हैं. अब वो वर्टिसेस में प्रॉब्लम होती है. या नेक्स्ट वन यू सी. ओके, ये देखा आपने. ओके, ये ज्योमेट्रिकल, ये ना नीचे से वो ऊपर आ रहा है फ्लो, कैन यू सी, नीचे से, बिकॉज हाई प्रेशर है नीचे और वो लो प्रेशर है ऊपर. तो जब ऊपर आता है तो ऐसे घूम के ना ये टिप पे मिल जाते हैं, तो वो वर्टेक्स बननी शुरू हो जाती है. ये वर्टेक्स कई बार हमने एयरक्राफ्ट में देखी होगी. अगर नेक्स्ट वाला देखोगे आप, तो ये मैंने एक नॉर्मल एयरलाइंस का फोटोग्राफ लिया है. नाउ एक्चुअली वर्टेक्स, ये जो आप दिख रहे हो ना बादल की तरह, ये कंडेंसेशन हो गई है. वर्टेक्स जो एक्चुअली है, एयर फ्लो तो दिखता नहीं है ना ऐसे, यू कांट सी एयर. ये क्या है कि वर्टेक्स जब बनती है ना तो उसकी कोर में लो प्रेशर आ जाता है. ओके, जब लो प्रेशर होता है तो टेम्परेचर ड्रॉप होता है. ओके, PV is equal to RT when we say whenever the pressure drops the temperature drops. और जब टेम्परेचर ड्रॉप होता है तो कंडेंसेशन टेक्स प्लेस. जो भी वहां पे एटमोस्फियर है, जो भी वाटर वेपर्स हैं वहां पे, वो कंडेंस हो जाते हैं. जब भी किसी चीज का
भारी
प्रेशर
हो
कम
जाएगा.
करते हैं ना, हाँ, जैसे आप सोडा की बोतल या बियर की बोतल, याद है आदि पुराने जमाने में, बहुत ठंडी कर दो उसको, अब लिक्विड रहती है, जैसे आपने ढक्कन खोला उसमें बर्फ जम गई सारी. Have you ever noticed that it turns into
हाँ
ice,
हाँ.
right? Because you've reduced the pressure, then the freezing point changes, etc. All those things happen. So similarly, but this was to show that this is how vortices take place. तो अब प्रॉब्लम क्या है, vortices बनती हैं तो बने, क्या प्रॉब्लम है? बट ये जो vortices बनती है ना, ये एंगल ऑफ अटैक, आप कैन वी गो टू द प्रीवियस वन पिक्चर प्लीज. ये जो बनती हैं vortices, ये क्या करती हैं, टिप पे ना एंगल ऑफ अटैक को इंक्रीज कर देती हैं. आप देखा ना, फ्लो नीचे से ऊपर आ रहा है, करेक्ट? जब फ्लो नीचे से ऊपर आ रहा है, मींस टिप के पास ना, इट्स मीटिंग द टिप एट हाई एंगल ऑफ अटैक. ओके, मींस हाउ द platform is presenting itself to the air. So my main plane is like this, but my tip virtually has become like this.
Like that.
So जब ये ऐसी हो गई है तो टिप स्टॉल हो जाती है. अगर वो टिप
इसको
स्टॉल हो
जाने नहीं
गई,
देगा.
स्टॉल हो गई मीन गिरेगी, लिफ्ट कम हो गई उस पर. ठीक है, तो लिफ्ट जब स्टॉल हो जाएगी, अब दोनों टिप्स में से कौन सी लिफ्ट पहले स्टॉल हो गई, देन इट विल गेट इनटू अनकंट्रोल्ड वर्जन. नाउ इस पे उसको बचाने के लिए क्या करते हैं, वी यूज सर्टन मेजर्स विच आर लाइक विंगलेट्स. ओके, नाउ लेट्स गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन. नेक्स्ट ये कैन यू रिकॉग्नाइज
ये
दिस?
तो सर कमर्शियल एयरक्राफ्ट में भी दिखते हैं हमको.
हाँ,
स्पेशली बोइंग्स, पुराने मॉडल्स ऑफ बोइंग्स,
एब्सोल्युटली.
नॉट
हाँ,
पुराने, मतलब
Boeing.
बहुत 5-7
सारे मैं
साल
बताऊंगा.
पुराने.
ये है WZ-8. ओके, चाइनीज सुपरसोनिक UAV. Okay, now this has got winglets. Okay, ये winglets क्या करती हैं, वो जो span wise flow आ रहा है ना, वो उसको रोकती है और उसको वो वर्टिसेस में कन्वर्ट नहीं होने देती. पर इस पे हमने देखा है अभी जैसे स्विफ्ट में कि देयर आर नो विंगलेट्स, यू नो, देयर इज दैट स्पैन वाइज फ्लो नहीं है अभी. ना आई डोंट नो जब मेन घातक बनेगा उस पे ये फीचर इनकॉर्पोरेट होगा कि नहीं होगा, और अगर नहीं होगा तो उसकी जो ये विंग टिप स्टॉलिंग की इशू है उसको कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे या उसको वॉश आउट करेंगे. कई बार क्या करते हैं, सम वॉश आउट इज गिवन ऑन द विंग टिप कि वर्चुअली उसका एंगल ऑफ अटैक कम कर दिया जाए. जैसे ये विंगलेट आप सब एयरक्राफ्ट में देखेंगे. अब नेक्स्ट वन प्लीज. ये है नॉर्मल एयर इंडिया का एयरक्राफ्ट, बोइंग 777 है ये, ठीक है. सो इसमें क्या है, देखो इसमें भी स्वीप बैक है. नाउ इट्स नॉट ओनली दैट सुपरसोनिक एयरक्राफ्ट हैव स्वीप बैक. इसमें क्या है, क्योंकि इसको बहुत ज्यादा लिफ्ट प्रोड्यूस करनी है ना, आदि कितने पैसेंजर लेके जा रहे हैं, तो इसका केम्बर इतना बढ़ा देते हैं कि फ्लो एक्सेलरेशन जो है फ्लो की बहुत ज्यादा है विंग के ऊपर. तो जब ये 0.8 0.9 मार्क पे चलता है 36,000 फीट पे, तो फ्लो ओवर द विंग विल बिकम सुपरसोनिक. सो उसको प्रोबेबली अवॉइड करने के लिए इसको भी स्वीप बैक दिएगा. कैन यू मेक आउट स्वीप बैक, द विंग इज नॉट स्ट्रेट, आई मीन इट इज स्वेप्ट बैक. ओके, सो जरूरी नहीं कि सिर्फ सुपरसोनिक जहाज ही ऐसे होते हैं. आप नॉर्मल एयरक्राफ्ट, सो नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन यू नो बोर्ड एन एयरक्राफ्ट एंड यू सी विंग स्वेप्ट बैक, you will see that winglet at the end of it. That is precisely to stop that, because passenger aircraft में तो बहुत actually घातक साबित हो सकती है, you know, in case tip stall हो गई तो. Okay, next one please. सो ये दिस इज व्हाट इट डज इज, यू नो दैट. अब दो कंपैरिजन मैंने बताया है, वो देखो लेफ्ट में वर्टेक्स कितनी पावरफुल है जो बिना विंगलेट के है, और राइट में जहां विंगलेट्स हैं वहां पे वर्टेक्स बहुत वीक हो जाती है.
टूट
सो
जाता है
दिस
वो.
इज द पर्पस. हाँ, टूट जाता है, तो इट डजंट अलाउ दैट फ्लो टू मिक्स and become a winglet. Why it was important? I mean, one from technology point of view, one, then people who are watching this Ghatak design very closely, the way it is coming up, then we'll be able to differentiate that should something come up in front, you know, and subsequently के कैसा डिजाइन बन के ये निकलेगा. So these are the factors, you know, which are to be kept in mind. पर जरूरी नहीं है कि ये विंगलेट्स बने. कोई जैसे वॉश आउट है, तो वॉश आउट मींस वहां पे आप लोकली उसका एंगल ऑफ अटैक रिड्यूस कर सकते हो. ओके, नेक्स्ट वन प्लीज. ओके, दिस इज तरानिस. ओके, यूके का है ये. ये खड़ा कहाँ पे है? यू नो, एनेकॉप चैम्बर दे कॉल इट. ये देखते हैं हम, ट्रायंगल्स बनी हुई है नीचे. ओके, ये क्या करती हैं, ये एनर्जी अब्सॉर्ब करती हैं, साउंड वेव्स, रेडार वेव्स. तो ये जो स्टेल्थ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स वगैरह इसके चेक करते हैं कि व्हाट इज द ट्रांसमिशन, यू नो, व्हेन यू लेट्स से रिफ्लेक्ट एनी रेडार एनर्जी ऑन दैट, व्हाट इज इट गोइंग टू ट्रांसमिट बैक. सो दीज दैट एनेकॉप चैम्बर यू नो मेजर्स ऑल दैट. ये बहुत मतलब आपने हमने लैब्स में देखा हुआ है. एंड आउटसाइड ना लोग बड़े एडवेंचरस हैं, इनकी इसकी टिकट लगती है इसके अंदर एक्सपीरियंस करने के लिए ना. पीपल गो एंड एक्सपीरियंस एंड दे से यू कांट स्टैंड इनसाइड फॉर मोर देन 45 मिनट्स, नॉट बिकॉज कोई एनी रेडिएशन वगैरह, यू गो मैड बिकॉज इट्स कंप्लीट साइलेंस. इट एब्जॉर्ब्स जस्ट अबाउट everything coming out, and you know you feel totally cut off from the world. So you know people say that mentally
बाप
you
रे,
can't sustain it. Okay,
I
so
did not know
this
this.
is,
So this is a revelation.
yeah, so this is then छोटे 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 चारों चुफेर ये ट्रायंगल्स हैं, you know, इसके
Yeah, yeah.
एक स्पेशल मटेरियल के बने हुए. ठीक है, सो बिकॉज ये स्टेल्थ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं, तो उसके लिए ये जनरली यूज करते हैं. ओके,
Wow.
द पता क्या कीमत है, मैंने बोला था इसकी बताऊंगा. इन एक्सेस ऑफ $185 million, which is equivalent to a Rafale aircraft. This is as of now, which is published. So they are not going to be any cheap, you know, subsequently if they have to do their role. So that is why if such a you know aircraft has to be fielded in war fighting etc., then it has to have capability, it has to have stealth characteristics. You can't afford to lose an aircraft like that because you know it can't maneuver, or it can't look after itself, or it does not have enough armament. Okay, next one please.
But इसका भी अगर आप विंग रूट देखें सर, it's quite,
हाँ,
you know, जो आपने बताया था, the front is very, it's pretty heavy.
it's heavy, yeah. So
Wow.
okay, this is now, but this is the same Taranis Flying. Okay, why I got this picture, इसके विंग के ऊपर देखेंगे आप एक अलग से निकला हुआ है कुछ, you know, एक तो एलिवॉन्स है पीछे, मिडल ऑफ द विंग, यू जी कंट्रोल सर्विस के आगे
एक और
थोड़ा
फ्लैप है,
सा
हाँ।
कोई फ्लैप सा है ना. Now I am not sure because I we did not design this aircraft. Probably it is to disrupt that span wise flow. You know, they did not want those winglets. Now ab isme na, while we are coming to that, now why winglets are not used on these aircraft, because we talked in our stealth chapter that any vertical surface is a total
हम्म।
no go when the stealth is concerned, correct? So you may not have winglets when we are talking of stealth features, but something has to be done, correct? So probably at the time, you know, when you are producing high alpha, or when you are at those kind of regime where you need to control the span wise flow, probably this will boundary layer fencing we call it, or something like that. So it will come up only when required, and it's not always on to give away your radar signature, okay? But whatever I'm talking of, I mean, it is a pure from my study and my knowledge of aerodynamics, and guesswork. Maybe your audience can educate us a little more after
नहीं
this.
नहीं, this is
Next one, please.
fantastic, sir. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Now
So you,
this is again we come to Ghatak. Now इसका जो intake देख रहे हैं आप, practically every aircraft will have an intake like that. Serpentine intake it's called. You know, not with that standard intakes that you see. Special purpose again, because ये stealth feature है ना, that it befits that. और shock waves manage करने के लिए, you know, जो pressure recovery होती है, okay, shock wave की जो आगे air flow आ रहा है, maximum pressure recovery, let's say when it's supersonic etc., different designs are there. This intake has been designed by IIT Bombay, incidentally, you know, and earlier the whole concept is with the IIT Kanpur and AD. So a completely in-house kind of design. I'm sure they must have studied and done well. So this is the kind of intake will you see practically. एक तो center में रखने में ये beneficial होता है, and ये sawtooth is more pronounced. But even like F-35 or F-22, inside design is a kind of serpentine to a way. बाहर
जी,
से ज़्यादा visible नहीं होते, but जो अंदर उनकी geometry होगी वो तकरीबन वो serpentine type होती है. Next one, please. I think. Just an odd flight. This is Turkish thing, Anka, okay,
अंका।
and Anka, something similar, okay, and this is going to be used, against that Mumty concept. When you see, इसमें भी देखो नीचे इसके bombs or some armament it's carrying, so they will probably decide that, you know, that stealth feature will be used when required. It's not that just for stealth now you lose out the complete capability. So from role to role, when you want to carry it, you carry it. When you don't want to carry it, depending on the threat environment, you don't carry it. Then you do some other role. Okay, this is going to be used in conjunction with the Khan aircraft. I think the next picture is of that Turkish fighter. I think there was some news that Pakistan may be interested in this, collaborating
They're
for
interested
this.
in this,
Okay,
and they're also interested in the J-31,
J-31,
but
yeah,
they're not interested
yeah,
in buying atta and flour for their country. तो उनको तो
yeah.
माफ ही कर दो सर।
Yeah. Okay, so this is in general the main story of, Ghatak, the way it is designed, and what it's going to do that. And now when we, the other programs, if we see, we people must have heard, if the question comes, Tapas, Rustom वगैरह, they are not UCAVs. I mean, they are ISR drones. And Rustom था पहले, Rustom 2 बना, फिर उसका नाम Tapas कर दिया, which is stands for, tactical airborne platform for aerial surveillance. Okay, so that will be more of a surveillance aircraft. So this Ghatak, whenever it comes up, I think it's going to be a big asset for us. One is technology wise, you would have matured. You will have decent numbers which can be sent to war with to a great effect, I would say. Okay, the technology is mostly indigenous. It will become complete when the engine is also ours, and radars would have matured, because LCA fortunately is going very fast in that direction. Okay, so all in all, it will be good fun, I would say, in 2 years
Absolutely,
time,
I was very excited, sir. Absolutely,
if we do that. Okay, now
absolutely,
I think I'll call it a day here. Mostly I try to explain, what does it involve and what is the technology, and
absolutely.
probably we can interact with your
And
audience too.
I will add a small update, sir. Indigenous suction UAV by Kamran Drones. ठीक है, this is a company,
Mhm.
private company who's doing this. have conducted both VTOL and autonomous VTOL tests in night conditions as
Right.
of about
Yeah.
this morning, मतलब early morning,
Yeah. Early morning.
last
Yeah.
night, early morning के बीच में. So daily some
So
developments are there. Guys, don't be surprised कि suddenly India becomes a drone power. So
you see, our requirements are going to be large, our ecosystem is large,
जी,
it just has to mature, people have to look in right direction. ये भी ना गगन यूज करता है, like GPS aided geospatial navigation what we call, एक ना वाइड एरिया सिस्टम होता है, इसका जीपीएस का, कि ये भी ऑटोनोमस लैंडिंग है, यू सी इट डजंट नीड एनीथिंग, इट कम्स एंड लैंड्स ऑन इट्स ओन, absolutely unaided. Okay, so a lot of capability is being built into this, hopefully. And carbon fiber, we have good machines. I mean, we are buying rolls, it's like buying a roll is like buying a cloth from outside, and if you know how to stitch your garment, then that's what we are doing at home. There are impressive machines which are put on that and molded, so all that is happening here in India. So I think we should realize this capability soon.
done. Sir,
Yeah.
uh, most importantly, let's get into the questions, guys. सबसे पहले जाने से पहले, please like this video in numbers, and because this kind of a knowledge जो आपको दिख रही है, जो मिल रही है, trust you me, you will not find in any other platform, and I can say that very proudly that sir comes here and he's actually imparting us with this kind of stuff. So please, please, please show your love and like this video in numbers. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and most importantly, guys, spread the word about dev talks. जैसे मैं ये हर वीडियो में ये चीज बोलता हूँ, if you can contribute towards dev talks efforts, you can use directly contribution के लिए the QR code up there, या फिर PayPal use कर सकते हैं, which is there in the description, and you can also send us super stickers and super chats. Thank you so much for watching, and let's see आज का शो. सर मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा, I miss these. लोग तो बोलते हैं सर को हर हफ्ते बुलाओ, मैं तो बुलाने को तैयार हूँ,
नहीं
सर बिजी होते हैं बस. सर इज
नहीं
आल्सो
नहीं
लेक्चरिंग हियर एंड देयर, सो देयर इज अ लॉट दैट सर डज, एंड मैं 15 दिन में एक बारी सर को पकड़ के लेके ही आता हूँ कि आप आओ प्लीज, बैठो हमारे साथ एंड स्पेंड एन आवर विद अस, बिकॉज
no, no, I
यू नो
hope I'm able to add some value to your show and to
absolutely
your
you are,
people.
sir,
I mean, that is
absolutely you are. You can see the feedback yourself. We've got almost 1500 people watching us right now on a technical specific
okay.
subject, तो बहुत ही it's a very this thing, and I'm, trust you me, I would be really really honored that आप चलते रहें सर यहाँ पर, तो so that we can all learn. सबसे पहले केवल देव जी, thank you so much for becoming a member. um let's see more. अनमोल शर्मा जी, जेट्स के सैंक्शन थ्रेड कभी अचीव होगी? हो जाएगी साहब, डोंट वरी. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर कंट्रीब्यूशन, डोंट वरी अबाउट दैट. ओके, अनमोल शर्मा जी, काली 1000 के ऊपर सर और मैंने डायरेक्टेड एनर्जी वेपन्स के ऊपर एक पूरा ऐसा टेक्निकल एक्सप्लेनर किया है, प्लीज उसको देखिए. ठीक है, गो टू मॉडर्न वॉरफेयर, मेरे जो प्लेलिस्ट है, या फिर आप सिर्फ मेरे चैनल पे जाके मार्शल बेदी को टाइप करिए, आपको वो दिख जाएगा. इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल एपिसोड. जिस तरह से सर ने आज एक्सप्लेन करा है, ही इज आल्सो कमिंग.
Directed energy weapons. I think that its heading
यस
is
सर,
directed energy weapons. Yeah.
यस सर. जॉर्ज विलिस, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर कंट्रीब्यूशन, एंड रिसर्च एंड एनालिसिस विंग, थैंक यू सो मच. ये भारत का समोसा जेट है. This is just a joke. Thanks so much.
Yeah, yeah,
It looked
of
like that
course.
first, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anmol, once again, will HAPS CATS also cross border to support missions?
Yeah, see what happens is they HAPS high altitude, platform system or pseudo satellites, whatever you call it. They are gaining traction now. Lot is happening, and they became famous after that Chinese incursion. Not that things were not Chinese incursion in US airspace. When we realized that. People suddenly realized what's happening. Balloons came. Initially, people didn't take it seriously. In one of the India Space Congress event here, in 22, okay, July, if yeah, this permits it, I'll put up that article here. We had advocated that this is a space. Isme, why I'm explaining this, because cross border is rather irrelevant in this concept. Okay, because at those heights, borders start to lose their sanctity or their meaning. Perhaps we are essentially talking of in excess of 50-60 kilometers. Okay, that place is completely void as of now. What happens is your aircraft cannot operate, beyond, I would say, or they are not effective beyond 15 to 20 kilometers. Fighter aircraft, I mean, 20 kilometers on the outside. Okay, that वो भी missile लगा के, and even I suppose people would know that this Chinese balloon, which was shot by F-22, they had to wait for it to come down. It was not shot at its original altitude. Okay, that thing just couldn't reach it, so they had to wait for it to come down to about 50 to 55,000 feet when finally it was taken
And
off.
the
So
F-22 fired it like this, literally
fired
fired
it
it on
like
a
this.
very high
Yeah,
angle of
yeah.
attack.
Okay, so now what happens is, why the aircraft cannot go beyond, let's say, 20 kilometers, but just for argument's sake, your satellites cannot fly low, because now they have to, they are being sustained in the space, not because of any power or something, purely by gravity. So they have to be at a height, going so fast, closer they are to the earth, faster they will have to be, and there is a place where they'll run out of that. They will fall or they will deorbit. They can't
Hmm.
sustain that space. In our satellite program also we talked about it. Okay, now between these two, these aircraft or satellites, they can't take each other's space. Aircraft cannot go that high because it's breathing. You get my point? And there is nothing to breathe high enough. For satellite is going because of absence of drag, and there is too much drag in the lower atmosphere. So you see the contradiction between the two. एक के लिए जो एटमॉस्फेयर चाहिए वो एक हद से ऊपर है नहीं, सैटेलाइट को जो वो नहीं चाहिए वो एक हद से नीचे बहुत ज्यादा है. सो देर इज ए स्पेस इन बिटवीन, ना वहां पे सैटेलाइट आ सकती है ना वहां पे एयरक्राफ्ट जा सकता है. ओके, तो उस नियर स्पेस में, जैसे मैंने एक उस हैड सेड ए स्मॉल कपलेट, एक एक उर्दू का कपलेट था, उसको इम्प्रोवाइज किया था मैंने, कि अगर ये एयरक्राफ्ट एंड सैटेलाइट वर टू बी टॉकिंग टू ईच अदर, के नियर स्पेस में कैसे रहें, तो दे विल से कि भाई नियर स्पेस में रहने के सिर्फ दो ही तरीके हैं, एक तुम्हें नहीं आता, एक हमें नहीं आता. फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एक it's a just a share of of interest. So what happens is, that is where these HAPS will come in. But if a HAPS is there, or at 60 odd kilometers, or 65 kilometers, then it is, as it is seeing much beyond your destined borders, you may not really have to take it cross borders. And even if you have to take it, it's not all that vulnerable unless now satellites start shooting it down, which is a very futuristic kind of thing. Cat's combat air teaming system, we talked about it. But when I called Mumty, it's as good as combat air teaming system. Okay, they will have to cross border, because if the fighter aircraft does not, there is no point doing combat air teaming system within your own territory anyway. Okay, I mean, I'm not saying there is no point at all, but what I'm saying, it makes more sense when you are infiltrating,
Sorry.
and you are going beyond certain borders. So they will be very useful. And when we get our link 16 equivalent, which is SDR, software defined radio, that is when it will get matured, because these people have to talk to each other. And while we are at it, Aadi, the next frontier which is going to come up is limitations imposed because of your AI enabling. Now just imagine I am sitting in aircraft and I have a buddy, wingman, who's AI enabled. Now between us, somebody takes decision, whose decision is better. That training, is required over a large period of time, and in very very highly sophisticated environment, that I give up my best thinking and start following. Let's say my buddy with AI enabled tells me, okay, no, 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 you should not be turning left, whereas my malum tells me, my situational awareness, no, this is what we should be doing. Now whether I am going to follow my wingman or my wingman is going to follow me, that is going to be the major dilemma in future warfare. I'm sure people will overcome it, but as of now, a lot of talk is happening on this count. But coming to cross border, I think cats will have to do, and for HAPS, yes, they may go, but probably not all that relevant in their scheme of things.
Research and analysis wing, thank you so much, sir. School की physics class याद आ गई. Never knew our marshals know so much. Extreme pride.
No, no, no.
They know much
Thank you
beyond
so
this.
much.
They just don't show it.
It isn't. Bit of interest, yeah.
Vinodji, thank you so much for becoming a member. Ashokji, thank you so much for becoming a member. Manish Devji, thank you so much for your contribution. He says, "What's the future of micro drones?"
Yeah, micro drones. You know what happens
Excellent
is, like
question.
I said, they come in all sizes. You know, from insects to this. Now they will stay. They will stay to like, when we talk of swarms. Okay, now swarms obviously are not going to be by these huge aircraft. They will obviously be smaller in number, and their aim is to saturate a certain area. Saturate air defenses or something. So obviously they'll be in small sizes. SOM, incidentally, is smart warfighting autonomous reconfigured module. Okay, that's the full form of swarm. Okay, so they are talking to each other. They are large in numbers. Anything which is more than three to up to thousands, maybe. It qualifies to be called a swarm. So I think they will continue to have a role. Not, I mean, when you look at it, micro drone all by itself or a small drone, there are many nomenclatures available. So by itself, it may appear very small to you. But what happens is, in numbers, when you use them with a purpose, they can provide quite a nuisance and lethal in some forms, probably.
Thought provocator, thank you so much. He says, eagerly awaiting for unknown aircraft to join service. Unknown
Yeah,
gunmen की जगह अब unknown aircraft भी चाहिए हमको.
yeah, yeah.
चलो. Preetam Nandiji, thank you so much. He says, Jazz, Gripen and our Tejas have same ferry range, but Gripen's combat range with F414 is said much higher than Tejas with F404. Western disinformation, can Su-30 be modeled for Kaveri engine test bed?
Kaveri engine, I don't know, because this is a very, very extremely technical question. Now F414 probably will give you, but this Mark 1A and Mark 2, if by then Kaveri engine does not come up, probably we'll look at F414. That is what that talk is. Okay, but hopefully by then Kaveri should come up if it reaches that milestone. But can disinformation, I don't know nowadays if anybody can do disinformation. And incidentally, the range of aircraft does not only depend on the engine. It depends on a whole lot of other things: what kind of aerodynamic configuration you have, what kind of
The
drag that
weight,
aircraft is producing, okay, the weight, etc. What if it has got more of a greater or sleeker aerodynamic configuration and is producing much less drag, it's going to need much less power to negotiate that. So it will consume less fuel, etc., etc. So many aspects come
where
in.
is it
Su
flying?
30, sorry,
Where is it
where is it
flying?
flying? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it dense
So
weather? Is it lighter weather?
yeah, like, yeah, absolutely. And Su-30, I don't think there is any need to do that, because we'll end up spending a great amount of resources and money just to put Kaveri engines in Su-30. I don't think it's a good idea, in my personal opinion, because whole lot of thing. Engine is not a module. It is not just taken out one engine and you put another engine. I don't think you can change even car engine from one engine to another car that easily. For aircraft is a very different ballgame altogether.
Talk Super Tank, thank you so much. He says, do Ghataks require miniaturization of weapons? This is a display.
No, no, he's probably talking when actual Ghatak comes. Okay, the actual miniaturization of weapons. No, I didn't think the Ghatak will be made to accommodate some current lot. I mean, of caliber of weapons what we have. I mean, you're not now going to design separately. It'll be almost like a fighter aircraft. That whatever weapons probably Mirage 2000 can carry. Only weight will be limitation. Like 2 tons. 2 tons is 400-500 kg bomb, for example. Okay, or 2 tons is 10 250 kg bombs. Okay, so what kind of racks it has, what kind of, no, because while we say stealth na, Adi, somewhere it is going to have little outside load, because so much depth may not be available for everything to be conformal, like under like hidden load or something. Okay, what kind of missiles it carries, etc. So I don't think there will be any special design. But if some modification is required in weapons, I suppose it will be carried out so that they are accommodated on this aircraft. But I see that is a separate issue. It suffices to say that it will carry those weapons, in whatever form it can carry.
Mission CR7. Thank you so much. He says, sorry for discussing a negative topic, sir. How and when will be able to recoup from Tapas setback?
No, there is nothing negative. Every question I value, because after all, it is these kind of doubts which make people think up. I don't know where you call it setback, or you call it delay, or you call it overworking, etc. Like I said, these technologies have to mature. It started with Rustom, then Rustom 1, Rustom 2, then it changed to this Tapas. That work is on, and now since it's not a abundant project or something, probably it's taking time, and slowly it will come up. I mean, what exactly is the plan? I think one will have to specifically look at that. I mean, offhand I may not be able to. It will be wrong to just shoot off. But
Speculate.
I won't know that it is not an abundant program. So somewhere when there are eureka movements or something, they are, you see, sometimes, like I said, suppose they are stuck at something and they are trying to overcome that. And till that thing is achieved, it's not that nothing, no work is happening.
They will not come out and
You
say
don't get
anything.
to hear. Yeah, you don't get to hear about it, and you tend to feel कि probably ये भूल गए इसके बारे में यार. I mean, वो छोड़ ही दिया हमने शायद. Okay, हो सकता है ऐसा नहीं है.
Hmm. Ravi Malhotra ji, thank you so much. How come we lagged in drones development? Technology of swarm drones may be a game changer in the future warfare. Your views?
Yeah, absolutely. How come we lagged in drone development? I mean, drone development is just one aspect of it. This probably you can substitute the word drone develop. I mean, drone in with many other aspects. I would say. We lagged because I think we initially did not consider it important. I mean, drones were in drone concept started in 1930s, 31. I mean, Vietnam War, they were first used in ISR role, but we did not think about them till 2000. Yeah, till, I mean, if you don't think about something, then when does the program start, when does it mature? Then you are suddenly wanting to do so many things. Then you underwent some sanctions, then you thought that what you bought from outside will do the needful, etc., etc. So there were so many things to be done. Then your own economic condition was in a particular way. Everything requires money. Then R&D, we all know, I mean, till today we are cribbing about R&D. So if all those things are responsible factors, that why did we lag not only in drone development, in any kind of development, I would say. Okay, and swarm drones may be a game changer, yes, in future. But the only thing one has to keep in mind is that swarm drones, they are very, very susceptible to jamming action. That very great care has to be taken. Display में देखा होगा आपने, obviously war fighting will be a little different than display. That if one drone falls off in between and communication losses take place or something, then the whole herd, tuck tuck tuck, one by one will come down. But they are rudimentary, they are for display purpose. But actually swarm will not be something like which we see on a new year display, or on a on a Diwali show. It will be entirely different game with the autonomous ability and things like that. Game changer, yes. Now depends what you define game changer as. I mean, will they completely win the war for you all by themselves? That nothing, no one can do. It is just that, yes, at a crucial moment they can come to a big help, and then it can translate to a game changer, because it may help other weapon systems to become much more effective, or what we call force multiplier in a way, in certain situations. Then if the outcome becomes in your favor, then probably we can call it that, oh yes, it was a game changer, right?
Hemanji, thank you so much. Bedi sir, it seems HAL capacity to produce Tejas is somewhat low. Any initiatives to enhance that? To my mind, one more plant in Nasik has come.
uh, Yeah, but under HAL only. What he means is probably that are we going to disinvest this thing? HAL itself will produce it, because I don't think our private industry has matured so much as yet. But a beginning is made now. After, let's say, how is our experiment with this C295, with this Airbus
Yeah.
thing happening in Baroda. Okay, so when that thing comes up, people get matured. Abhi tak kya hai? Why private industry is not getting into? Because they're not sure of volumes. That how many aircraft will anyone buy India, or will you be able to export it? So you put all your stuff into that. Then what is the market? So if the technology matures to an extent, I think what it will go that way. We have done better in space sector. What now ISRO, for whatever reason, they had great funding, they had probably great minds, we were at it for long. Now what have they done? They've commercialized it. They have developed the technology of small satellite launch vehicle, SSLV, what we call, and they have given it to private industry. They said, okay, here is a technology, take it and develop and go ahead. Now the private industry does not have to spend R&D to develop the technology. So tomorrow, let's say we mature to that a extent, God willing, that HAL now is thinking of MCA and this thing, and Tejas technology has matured, and it says, okay, yeah, we don't want to do anything for now. Anyone ready to take this technology? Here is my complete technology. Take it, make your aircraft, sell it anywhere that you wish to. To the whole, there will be many countries ready to buy that stuff. That is when private industry probably will come.
Arunji, thank you so much. Framework for IAF and Academy of Joint Research. One of the things that
Yeah,
could be done.
this is not only IF. There are, I consider, three pillars for progress, and everywhere outside it happens. Unfortunately, again, we are lagging there also. I would say it upfront. There are three pillars. What are the three pillars? One is the services itself, who have to perform, right? We all have been part of that. Then is academia. Okay, academia reads, academia interacts with people, academia knows what's happening around it, writes the research paper, etc., etc., does a lot of people's PhDs, blah, blah, blah. And then there is industry where people actually work. Okay, now you need cohesion between all these three. You need to have people. We still in a little different environment, where we are chary of each other. Service is little chary of private players. Academia does not is if I'm an academia, then I'm only academia. Take the case of a think tank. Any think tank. People in think tank are only think tanks. Like, they're not part of any industry. Like, it's not that I'm a research scholar in a think tank and I'm also working in L&T, or I'm or a there is a now Air Force used to have deputations in DRDO labs. It still has, not used to have, it has. So there is RCI, like missile complex, there is Bell, there is this thing. So we have serving officers who are on deputation to these this laboratories. What was the purpose of that? Purpose of that was that there was the interaction between, because only these people were producing stuff for you. It was only these laboratories which were doing the work for, let's say, Air Force or for any service. So now with that logic, let's say tomorrow a private industry starts, some Tatas or Reliance or Adanis or anything L&T, they start doing things for you. Then are we in a position, or are we ready to send our serving wing commanders or group captains on deputation to L&T without doubting his integrity, that he will start driving their agenda, believing him that no, he's my wing commander? How will he drive anyone else's agenda? I trust. And I said, your sole role is to be a linchpin. Sorry, the link between the services and this private industry who's trying to do this work for me. Okay, and not start looking at him with mistrust, that no, he will start making his own future career there and things like that, and total no go, you will not meet so and so, etc., etc. So probably this is where we need to learn from evolved past. I have been abroad, I have been air attaché, I have seen how people work there. There are these private industries who sponsor trophies in their regular training institutions. That is where the interaction starts. So nobody minds there that if tomorrow, let's say, can a private industry tomorrow institute a some kind of trophy in Air Force Academy? I don't know when will we reach that stage, so that people know that okay, this is let's say best in flying trophy. I say because I was lucky to have one. And similarly, okay, let's call it some good paper trophy, some research paper trophy, some this thing. You say okay, so and so industry is sponsoring the trophy. Okay, you come and so that is where the interaction and the trust starts. We are long way from there, but I think there is a need to get there. I've taken a little time on that because I sincerely feel that this is the way we need to head for. Thank you for asking that question.
So we'll just speed it up a little bit because we've got
Yeah, yeah,
quite a bit of
please, at your
we've got about
convenience.
an hour.
Speed is your speed. Yeah.
Anmol ji, thank you so much. Are we dependent on Israel for SDR? Bennett.
I don't think so. It is being developed, as far as I know, it is being developed by SDI, our own
Our own.
SDI in Bangalore. That whole thing, and a lot of work has happened. When it started, that size of that box was more than a suitcase. First model which came out, and people are wondering how will this go in an aircraft. And slowly, slowly from there, we have come
Now
a
it's become
great
a pod, yeah.
yeah. Where it's one now it's manageable. I mean, from that is from where we started. Depending on Israel or not, I don't think if let's say you learn something from somewhere to speed up things, we should call it dependence. Not that I know who are they taking help from or what is happening, but I think majority is being done independently, and you can't afford to have these source codes because this is your lifeline, going to be your lifeline. So you can't have anyone else controlling it. I think a great self control will be required on that.
Manu Sharma ji, thank you so much. He says, awesome work, Adi. Keep it up. Greetings from Switzerland, Bedi sir. Jai Hind. Do we
Okay.
need different drone systems considering various geographical conditions? Comparison of our drones with that of Pakistan's.
Fox, it's subject in itself, but yes, we need different kind of drones, no doubt about it. We have mountains, we have desert, we have sea, we have Punjab fields. They all need different kind of the requirements, in the sense that something which can fly very comfortably in fields of Punjab will find it difficult to fly in Leh. Now we all know that you will not have line of sight communication when you're talking of hills. In fact, there have been some incidents also where line of sight communication is lost and things like that. The endurance will suffer. The starting up of drones, what kind of battery powers you need, what kind of fuel you need, what kind of payload can they carry, etc., etc. Whole lot of things are different conditions will definitely need different kinds of drone systems. You need satcom connectivity, etc. So once you get into this, I again wrote a small piece for CLAWS, our Center for Land Air Warfare Studies, that how drones would have helped in mountainous terrain, and I just rechalked the whole Kargil war. Now, having participated in Kargil, I said, now let's see if we had drones, if we had the drones, in Kargil, then how this battle would have shaped up. Which tells you in a nutshell that what is the capability of drones in mountainous terrains. But yes, everything will not fit in everywhere. You will definitely need different systems for different terrains.
Ji. JBJP, compare dimensions. Thank you so much. Firstly, compare dimensions of Ghatak and Tejas. Percentage Desi.
Dimensions of Ghatak and Tejas. Percentage, you see, Ghatak and Tejas will be almost similar, I would say. This is my guess again, Adi. What happens is I am just interpreting that 1/8 size which I read. Okay, and when you try to find out, actually you need to talk to the design guys, and they are little not that I did not try, but then I respect the confidentiality of information. Okay, but what I can make out is that it will look like something a fighter class, because just take the case if they are turning an F-16 into an unmanned kind of drone. Okay, then this Ghatak probably will look something like that. Imagine, no, can you take a guess from that? It's a total weight is going to be 15 ton. What should a 15-ton machine look like? And it'll carry 2 ton, 13 ton plus 2 tons. I mean 15 ton total max takeoff weight. 13 ton इसका अपना weight होगा fuel के साथ. Okay, and carbon fiber है light होगा. So accordingly one can see that what kind of dimensions it may have. अगर फ्यूल वगैरह भी उसमें ले लें तो 9-10 टन का एयरक्राफ्ट जो है will be something like that fighter class of aircraft. Dimensions so comparable to Tejas, little more than Tejas, little bigger than Tejas, I guess.
Manish ji, thank you so much. Manjesh ji, thank you so much. He says, can swarm drones have high tech with signal jammers?
Can swarm drones have hive tech with
Hive tech.
Yeah, see what happens is they can. I mean, they obviously there will be countermeasures. What happens is what Swarm does is that they can hand over their responsibility to one another to quite an extent. Let's say if one particular drone has given up in between, then the other guy can substitute. For it, okay, and obviously the anti-jamming technique is the basic survival for swarm drone. What that is why I said that when I say that they are vulnerable to jamming, then obviously even the manufacturers know that they are vulnerable. Now they're producing. There are some of our indigenous companies also which were producing jammers, or not jammers, sorry, some receivers like GPS receivers which cannot be jammed. See, where are you going to jam them from? You're going to jam them from ground. No, I mean, who's going to jam them? You're not going to launch an aircraft now to jam each and every guy. There will be ground jammers. So all you have to do is with these swarms, probably jam the ground receiver. I mean, jam its, make it in a way or position it in a way. GPS satellites so upar hain, correct? And your jammer is below. So if I block the signals coming from below, okay, in some way, and have adequate signal coming from satellites, to some an extent, I would have taken out. I mean, I've served the purpose of this jamming, I guess.
Hemanji, thank you so much. Kindly share updates of development of Kaveri engine of a fighter aircraft. Sir, पूरा episode है इसके ऊपर. Please check it out.
Yeah,
Again, just
aero
type
engines.
Marshal Bedi on my channel. Please.
Yeah, no. I mean, I thought you had said it. So, Kaveri engine updates, it is in process. We have achieved certain milestone. We have reached some 75 odd kilonewtons. We are short by about 10. Now, it depends, how updated is it, your information. This 10 could be 8, could be 7, but we are short. And each test point, is very, very laborious. They slowly have to move to, towards it. So I think it is on progress. They're doing a fairly good job. In case people have some, I don't know how will they get access or something like that. But if you go and see the GTRE or gas turbine research establishment and things like that, quite a fair amount of work is happening. But only thing is, we are dependent on foreign equipment for its testing. Let's say you tweak something a little bit today, and
Take it
if
to
you have to
Russia to
go
test it.
somewhere else, take it to Russia. I mean, imagine you're sitting on this laptop, you're doing something, some software upgrade on that, but you can't test it here yourself, and you every time have to take it to shop to test it. Then this is what is happening. That you come back, you learn something new, tweak it, then there are bureaucratic hassles. How frequently can you go there, what for are you going there, why couldn't you do it last time when you went there, etc., etc. How many more times will you need to go? There are a whole lot of things, which probably are get into the way, but they are being overcome.
So, Batraji asks, Bedi sir, a tailless design configuration is unstable and needs a minute auto
Minute.
stabilization possible only by onboard computers. If we have mastered that tech, that's a huge leap in our abilities.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And that is why the control system we talked in Tejas also, that the whole control system that, fly-by-wire control system that we have developed, control laws, what we say we developed, is a great thing. And what, very profound observation, that whole purpose of vertical stabilizer or is for the vertical stability, which is very, very important. Aircraft can go out of control. Now, इसके जो एलिवॉन्स है ना पीछे, that two sets of एलिवॉन, they are continuously fluttering in the sense कोई ऊपर कोई नीचे कोई ये कोई वो कोई etc, which is not possible humanly. It needs a kind of autonomous system to keep it under control, because moment a yaw sets in, the vertical stability does what? It controls your yaw. It provides you enough stability in this formation. And if it does not have enough stability and you depart in yaw, there is no way to control it. You cannot, it will just depart quickly. So it is very important, and if you have mastered it, it is definitely a great achievement. I think it was more of an observation. I'm sure there was no
Hmm.
question in that.
Unknown Gunman 007, are you satisfied with the overall progress in development of Tejas and Kaveri engine and AMCA program? Please don't ignore my question,
Oh
sir.
my
Please
gosh.
watch that episode. The reason I am taking this so that I can direct people onto that this thing also. We've done an hour
Yeah.
long talk about the uh, Tejas and the Amka and the jet engines and all that stuff. So please have a look.
Now,
You'll get a lot
yes,
more answers than what you're looking at.
and since that gentleman is passionate about it, I would say when he asks a question, "Are you satisfied?" It depends. Who am I? Am I who's this question directed to? If it's directed to me as a person, as a common Indian, then I would say yes, something is happening, it's daily progressing forward. If someone from the government is looking at it, he'll have a different view. If chief of air staff is looking at it, he will obviously want it tomorrow. Okay, and every day he has to push. If it is HAL chief is looking at it, or if it is DRDO chief looking at it, or it is Raksha Mantri looking at it, everybody will have a different yardstick. That how much are they satisfied will vary depending on who's this question directed to. But what happens is, uh, overall progress, I would say, is positive. Whether it is up to the mark or needs a little push, there is no lack of intent, Adi. All that I can say is that, okay, if something, it is not that people are just sitting or they don't have capability or something, but yes, it is taking time, and it will take time, but when it comes, thereafter, it will be, we are still in the initial stage. Can you imagine, if I can explain it, you take a balloon, all of us, in when we had young children, you done their birthday decorations and float some inflated some balloons. It is very difficult to push in the initial bit of air into balloon. Once it opens up a little bit, then it's piece of cake, right? So it is, we are at a stage where it is little difficult now to inflate the initial part of it, and moment that thing is reached, then probably will leap forward faster.
Naveen ji, thank you so much. Do drone platforms also has generations similar to fighter jets? If yes, what are the key features that define the generations? What generation is Ghatak? Do we have man? So many questions. Prior generation capabilities.
See the see we were like, when we described Tejas, you remember we said that generally outside people graduated from Gen 1 to Gen 2, Gen 3 to Gen 4, whereas we, after we left Maruth, we have straight away jumped from Gen 1 to Gen 4.5. Okay, now if you talk of drones also, these are the first kind of drones we are making. I mean, Tapas, we just heard a question on Tapas. Okay, and this is Ghatak. Now, Gen, when you talk, they are not as defined very well, I would say, as it is, in the aircraft kind of thing, because now they have proliferated all over. What is the Gen of that nano drone or that insect drone, or what Gen will you put it in? I mean, this will be, Gen was applicable when, let's say, progress was linearly going upwards. You started from Gen 1, the capability kept on increasing and increasing. In drones, it did not happen like that. If you started with fixed wing drones, in between quadcopters came, in between bloody shadi wale drone came, in between that came, in between insect drones came, in between something else came. So this Gen thing has lost its meaning. Now it depends that what kind of job it is going to do. But tomorrow, when let's say, when this cats or this mumpty kind of concept comes, then I think it will be easy to compare that whichever aircraft can fly along with whatever generation aircraft, then probably will correspond to that kind of generation, I guess.
Sir, looking handsome and great gentleman, do we have kamikaze drone or not? Or our armed forces need those kinds of drones?
Yeah, I think we do. I mean, Air Forces has plans for that. There is some development on, there is some purchase on, but I think we do have the capability. What exactly do we have, and what are the specifications are not in public domain, I guess. But this capability is very much inside.
Arunim Sinha says, why every fighter jet these days has a Delta Canard design,
Yeah, you see, this is because it is more for the kind of roles it is required to do.
similar generational
What is
roles.
delta? See, initially people, we made straight wings, right? I mean, a very simple example, we made straight wings, then we started doing sweep back. Okay, that straight wings only were sweep back, piche khali tha, and then the designers must have thought, okay, why have this so much khali jagah piche yaar, fill it up. because it's not doing anything. Your aircraft is taking that much space anyway from wingtip to wingtip. You needs that much of maneuvering area, right? So if this additional space, it's giving you longer chord, it's giving you more volume, it's giving you more area to generate lift. It is carrying you more fuel carrying capacity, etc., etc. So many advantages to fill up that place. So why not fill it up? And because like I said, sweepback was the requirement. I mean, anything which has to go supersonic probably could not go with straight wing. Okay, you needed sweepback. And once you had that and your wings were swept back, then that you can you imagine that rear portion would have been khali, no? So that was filled up and it became a delta kind of plan form. So that is why I think it's just, it makes more sense to have that. So that is why everyone has it.
Captain Tavish, the weight speculated between 13 to 15 tons and Kaveri Drive producing a 50-ton engine, 50 kilonewton engine. Would it be underpowered?
No, not really for this. Yeah, around
Oh,
80 kilonewton. What he's talking, that last part of the question, that people, because this is, like I said, this aircraft is not going to go like those aircraft are, designed for Mach 2 plus kind of speed, and they are much heavier, in that configuration. This aircraft probably will one dash it will need to make at best and touching Mach 1.4 at altitude, that too, not at low level, I guess. Okay,
it
so
won't be maneuvering like that, like that, like that. It's
it's
not
not
a.
maneuvering like that. Yeah, so that kind of stuff, and one straight dash, that 1.4 Mach is what top speed it plans to reach. So that kind of for that. That configuration, because I'm sure they've done simulation. If they say that this much of thrust is okay, that all computer simulations must have been done, that it can reach that speed.
This is a joke. Bharti from the south says, "Sir, वो सब तो ठीक है. Mileage कितना देता है?"
Yes,
to,
that is,
to
no, that's a very pertinent question to ask. Yes. Yes.
Anmol ji, thank you so much once again. Ukrainian swarm boats firing missiles, a new thing, brother. Let's keep it on subject here, please. JBJP, thank you so much. Big Air Force jets in thousands. What about drones?
Yeah, something similar, I guess. The even too many. I mean, we will need more and more drones, and there are a lot of drones in India. It is just that for what purpose are they being used? Every second, I tell you, you go to an air show, Adi, there is not a single stall. Even if he is selling, even if tomorrow's air show someone puts up a tea stall, he will have a drone outside hanging, to say, okay, we make drone also. Okay, 200, more than 500 or something startups are making drones. So all of them, when they mature in some
All
kind of
kinds,
technology, will have all kind of drones will be there. We just have to
especially
learn to use them wisely. Yeah.
especially in India, the startup this thing for drones has become crazy. I mean, the
Crazy.
kind of
and
stuff which is
and
happening.
slowly, Adi, I think this dual use technology, will
Yeah,
catch up. I mean, we are still not thinking about it or not, because it's a nascent, like, aircraft. Take a transport aircraft, your airliner. Okay, it carries passengers, but tomorrow war breaks out, it'll carry troops also, right? I mean, it'll become a air force transport aircraft. Okay, so similarly, let's say drone tomorrow. If I don't have a war on, so I say, yeah, these drones are waste. So if I can put them to some other use, doing some urban planning, doing some disaster management, doing some, minus the, what do you call, payload. Okay, and ISR is frequently used in by the civil administration, by agriculturists, by to monitor this, that, etc. Their day-to-day use becomes great, and there should be a technique or a facility available that tomorrow when chips are down, I need them in thousand. They all, with one small modification, can be modified to carry weapons and to do that kind of load and unleash. I mean, just a thought. So the drones in thousands, yes, of course, that should be the case.
Ravi ji, thank you so much for your contribution, but I think we'll rather end this right now. It's already 1 hour 23 minutes. दिल्ली में बड़ी ठंड है सर को जाके सोने दो and
Right.
I will try and get sir back as soon as possible as and when sir time finds the time. But sir, let me tell you, this was a very very educational episode. एक एक ये हम लोग जो एयरक्राफ्ट के ऊपर आप डिस्कशन करते हो, it is absolutely brilliant and we love it. So that's something that I'd
Thank
like to
you.
say.
It's always,
And
I also feel like indulging. Yeah,
thank you so
thank you.
much. Harshvardhan ji, thank you so much again for your contribution. Sir, we've done an episode on aircraft and air force and bombers and this and that. So please have a look. Probably the next episode, so we could talk about future requirements of the Indian Air Force. You know,
Hmm.
what kind of aircraft can be looked at, bombers के बारे में क्या है. काफी सारे लोग पूछ रहे थे.
Hmm,
But I
hmm,
wanted
hmm.
to keep it focused towards drones today so that we could take that up.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time and educating all of us, because it's really really nice, and I am really grateful. Thank you so much, sir. Jai Hind,
Thank
Jai
you so
Bharat.
much. Thank you, Adi. Always a pleasure. And thank you very much to all your audience.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.